July 13th to order. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Ooh, these mics are working tonight. Good evening. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Councilmember Hoheimer.
Here.
Councilmember Abel.
Here.
Councilmember Hilst.
Here.
Councilmember Nutter.
Here.
Councilmember Fletcher.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Phillips. Mayor Burris.
Here. Having a quorum, we will conduct business. Chair would entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda, please.
Madam Mayor, whoa, it's
I
really
know,
loud.
they're working.
Madam Mayor, I move that the agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer and second by Mr. Abel. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for the approval of minutes, please, from June 22nd, 2026.
Madam Mayor, I move that the regular meeting minutes of June 22nd, 2026 be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer and second by Mr. Abel. Any questions? Council? Seeing none, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0. We have now come down to item 5, which is public input. But before we do public input, I want to have, like I did a couple of meetings ago, I missed last meeting, but Mayor Mary's moment. So my moment this evening, I have two of them. And like I said, I had missed last council meeting, so I realize this might have been a couple of weeks ago, but I feel that I need to bring it once again to everyone's attention, only because I am stopped at the grocery store, I am getting emails, I am getting texts, and I'm getting phone calls, and I am so proud of city staff, and I hope the citizens in Pekin are as proud of them as I am. First, I want to thank Nikki for taking our welcome signs from drab to fab, shall I say, because they were very drabby, dirty, not inviting at all, to fabulous. I just think they look refreshing and inviting, and I can't thank her enough. I believe Ryan might have been with her helping out as well. Is that correct, Simon? Okay. But anyway, I'm very proud of them, and I hope the rest of the citizens in Pekin are, and I hope you enjoy seeing the refreshed, fabulous welcome signs. Second is our finance department. You know, I wasn't here to say this at our last meeting with our audit being done, but Eric has, I feel he has taken the finance department from very siloed, shall we call it. It was very kind of segregated, and it wasn't open to a very professional, proactive, best practice finance department. I am so proud, and the citizens of Pekin should realize what a hard job that was to get our audits done. We actually, when I first started running, we were 3 years behind in audits. By the time I was elected, we were 4 years behind in audits. We couldn't go to the bank and get loans. We couldn't we were on a do not pay grants for the state of Illinois, so a grant list. We could not get state grants. We have come so far in just these 3 short years, but like I said, we were 4 years behind there, And with these 3 years, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe are we on our last year of getting totally caught up? We will be. We just had another one done, and we will be caught up by this time next year, completely.
Completely. This
Completely.
Time next year. That's correct.
So that is 7 years in, right now, in 3 years. We should be very, very proud of the staff that Eric has under him. That is not an easy task. I realize he wasn't here right at the beginning when I first became mayor, and it was Bob Grogan, but you have taken us to another level, and I think our finance department has grown tremendously. So thank you very much. Hats off to you. Thank you. Those were my 2 moments. I hope everyone enjoyed hearing them again. And like I said, I hope that you are very proud of our staff and where they've taken us. So now it is open to the public. Anybody wishing to have their voice heard, please come to the podium, state your name, and remember you have 5 minutes. And I hope I didn't go over 5 minutes. Good evening. Thank you, and I don't, the mic is on.
Hello.
We sure hear you now.
Hi, my name is Rex Pojoli, and first I'd like to thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You all work really hard and have to put up with a lot of stuff. I'm here again asking the same question. I've received nothing in communication from the city engineering or anything regarding the requests that I have made for infrastructure corrections and improvements. So I'm kind of, again, coming here every single Monday that I possibly can and asking the same question over and again. Why won't the city respond with even some kind of formal information about this issue that I've been asking for over 20 years? Now, I know you're new to the game, Mayor. You're not the other mayors that I've asked the same question of. And so have most of our engineering people have changed hands a couple times already also. I'm asking again because it's a new group. I've asked before, and I'm going to continue asking. I'm retired now. I have a little more time on my hands, so I can be a little squeakier. I see no reason why this can't be done. It's obvious. The major portion of it, the first portion of it, is direct drainage from the city across my property and my drainage issues, which is causing issues in my parking lot. The second issue, which is really the most important, is the city's lack of improvement for the major drainage ditch that is adjacent to my property. I share 150 feet and 2 major buildings along that drainage trench. I have lost 3 feet in the last 20 years of that property. My transformer is 1.5 feet away from falling in the drainage ditch. The first fence that was there when I bought the property fell in. I put a new fence up. It's dangling by the edge. Once again, this isn't the property right next to me is the Lehman Property Management Group. They have completely improved drainage structures and concrete pillow blocking permanent drainage improvements. The property that is right next to them is mine, and it has no drainage improvements at all whatsoever. There are lots of problems with this, and I'm asking again, so please, would you please address a property owner that pays a lot of property taxes and gets very little services for that tax. So please address this problem. If you refuse to do that, I am thoroughly capable of hiring engineering groups and contractors to give me estimates. I have worked all over this country as a developer. Fortunately, I'm a homeboy, but the times were bad here. I moved to Texas, and then I moved to New Jersey. I've built property all over this country for developers. I've worked from beginning carpenter, working with my hands, back to supervision and project management. It's not easy. It's not difficult for me to source information and present you with more detailed information and costs if that's what you require. But I don't think I should have to do that. That's why I pay property taxes. I don't think it's impossible for you to have engineering discuss this issue at detail with me, meet me on site, go over these, address these issues that I have. So once again, thank you for your time. I'm going to let you just think about that for a minute. Once again, I'll be here next Monday if I don't hear from anybody again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
My name is Gary Lambert.
Good evening.
I'm not anti-patriotic, but I'm extremely glad to see that the 4th of July celebrations are over. I looked up the ordinances, or what I thought was ordinances, for fireworks in Pekin. And it says, as long as fireworks are less than 0.25 milligrams of fireworks, they can be in possession of citizens of Pekin. I don't know just how much that is, but I'm guessing it's like a ladyfinger or a very small firecracker. As I'm sure every one of you are well aware, starting 4 or 5 days in advance of the 4th of July, and in increasing frequency, so that by the 4th, it sounded like a war zone. And these weren't firecrackers. These are like bombs going off. I see we had something, if somebody wants to have fireworks, there's a procedure to get a license to do that. So question I would ask the police department or whoever, how many tickets were issued for this? How many permits were granted? I could put up with it. We recently required a small dog. He was absolutely terrified, shaking and that. We shouldn't have to put up with that. If you're going to have a 4th of July celebration, that's fine. But if you're going to have ordinances, then by gosh, enforce them or take them off the books. One other thing, well, I said it was over. Last night we had 4 very loud noises. I don't know if it was fireworks or a high caliber shotgun or rifle, but they were evenly spaced out as opposed to what fireworks normally are. Boom, and then 20 seconds later, boom. And it didn't sound like fireworks. But last Tuesday night, I live on the 1600 block of North 4th Street. We had some police activity. I don't know what it was. It's none of my business. But there were 5 or 6 cars, police cars, blocking streets and surrounding a neighbor's property, and some officers out. They were there for, I don't know, an hour or so. And that was fine. I don't know. I'm sure they had good reason to be there. Wednesday morning, I didn't take the call. Someone else did. We got a call. It left the impression it was from the police department. I hope it was not. It says, we've had some police activity in your area. Would you like to make a contribution to the police? And my friend said, no. And then he went on and say, well, it doesn't have to be $100. It could be $50. No. What could even be 20 or 10? Could have been just a citizen in the area that's got a police scanner, or I don't know what, and noticed that there was some activity there. If that was a police activity, I would like to see it addressed, and other people shouldn't be getting those kinds of calls. If it's an individual making them, trying to scam some money, there's nothing you can do about that. I understand that. But it upset my friend, and that upset me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Matthew Johnson. I'll try and be brief. So I went through the accounts payable over the weekend, and you can learn a lot by doing that if you just want to look it up and do keyword searches, or you can just go through it like I do, line by line by line. Just some couple questions. Not really sure where to start. There's really 3 items in there that need a little clarity. So let's just start with the bus business. It seems we're still not really technically out of that business because there's still accounts payable line items in there. We towed a bus from Bloomington to the bus barn. There's bus services. We're chartering buses to, I assume, Chicago, because there's tollway charges out there. So are we getting reimbursed for that if we're in the bus chartering service? We're still performing maintenance on buses. So, I mean, are we really ever going to get out of the business, or are we still in it? So that's question 1. This other one, the Balloon Fest. I didn't really attend that festival simply because I got absolute fear of heights, so I won't go up in a balloon, but we spent $8,000 on personnel. That was 15 pilots, a Meister, and then an announcer. Then we paid $1,200 just to have the venue, so we're at about $9,000. So really, I mean, if we want to be in the entertainment business, that's fine. But when you're in a business like that, you at least got to break even. So that's really the question at the end of the day. Did we break even? Probably can't answer that tonight, maybe in a couple months. Did we break even? If we didn't break even, then maybe we should reevaluate our decision-making paradigm and figure out a way to break even next year. Because it's a good festival. I know the weather didn't really pan out the way we wanted, but people liked it. So I don't see a reason not to have it again, just did we break even? And then, not really sure where to go with this one, so I'm just gonna have to just be blunt. I don't think taxpayers should be paying for the mayor and city council to have shirts. Sorry, John. I wasn't gonna say anything, but you're wearing it. You are not employees of the city, you know that. You are elected by the citizens. So I've had some pretty colorful conversations with myself on how to go about this. So I'm just gonna simply say this. Just ask yourself, is it a good use of taxpayer money? That's all. If it is, so be it. But I wouldn't be wearing that shirt out in public. You're just gonna draw attention to yourself. You know, I know I'm not fortunate enough to sit up there, but in the event, maybe in the future I am, I certainly, if compelled to wear it, I would reimburse the city $25, $50, whatever it costs, because of the line items out there. It's like $25 for that shirt, John. And since I want to try something different, I did talk to Nikki. I did see the post about the welcome signs, because I know that when this branding thing happened or was in the works, there was talks about brand new signs for probably tens of thousands of dollars. And I would have been adamantly against that, because there was nothing wrong with the new or the old signs. They just needed a big touch-up, refresh. And that's what she went out and did. So kudos to her. Big shout out to her for her efforts in that space. They do look nice. I haven't drove by any of them, but I've certainly seen the pictures. So kudos there. Have a good night.
Anyone else from the public? Public comment is now closed, please. We have now come down to public hearing, item number 6 on the agenda. I open the floor for CDBG annual plan. This will be presented by Mr. Josh Ray. Pardon, oh, it is 5:50, opened. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. See if we can get our tech to work here. Wonderful. All right, I just want to read a couple of things into the record real quick for purposes of this Community Development Block Grant hearing. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay, so this hearing is for the program year 2025-2026 Community Development Block Grant year. The city is an entitlement community that receives funding each year. Part of those requirements are that we do a consolidated annual performance and evaluation report, also called a CAPER. The CAPER is just a quick look back, mostly financial look back on the activity that happened during that program year. It's very similar to a fiscal year. It requires a public comment period and this public hearing for the public to provide any input on the process for the activities of the prior program year. This hearing was published on the city's website as well as in the Journal Star on July 8th. So we had notice of this hearing. The comment period extends through July 27th. So there will be contact information at the end of the PowerPoint slide where you can reach out to me and send me any feedback that you have on the plan. So just to start with the basics again, remind everybody, HUD is the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. They are the federal entity responsible for this whole program. CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grant, which is a program administered by HUD. The city is an entitlement organization, so we are a municipality that receives funding through a federal formula. We are not necessarily privy to that formula, but we receive a little over $400,000 a year, usually, from that formula. The program year is very similar to a budget year. What we would call fiscal year 26, they call program year 25. So just the first year of the hyphen. And then the allocation, or what you might call the grant, are the dollars that are awarded to the city to carry out eligible activities. So there's a lot of federal regulations about how the money can be used, and we're going to go through some of those things. Again, just a reminder, we do a 5-year consolidated plan every 5 years. We did one last year, so we're good for a while. We do an annual action plan that says how we're going to spend the money in the upcoming year. We had a hearing on that, I think maybe 2 council meetings ago. And then right now we're doing a hearing for the annual evaluation report, or the CAPER. So for program year 2025, we had some revenue that, it's interesting how HUD treats it. Some of the money that you spend actually out of the prior year's grant just stays with that program year. And then there's other money that from a prior year you roll over. So I differentiate those with the little dash line. So the prior year project funding, we had a certain amount available from a prior grant year. We had some dollars carry over. We had our new grant of a little over $438,000. And we had planned for about $2,000 of program income. We actually received over $27,000 in program income. Program income is not the grant money. It is income derived from some other HUD activity that we participate in or used to participate in. In this case, years ago, the city had a residential rehabilitation loan program. Those generally do not require monthly or annual payments. Some people do, but rather most people, they just wait until they want to sell their home someday, and then it gets paid off. And we had an unusual amount of payoffs in this last program year. So program income is pretty high. I have a little note that's pretty small to read, but basically it says we had more revenue from that those loan payoffs than normal, and that additional $25,000 or so in program income can get reallocated to another existing activity that's in our plan, which could be further payment towards the new fire apparatus for the Derby Street Station. It could go towards more sidewalk project. We'll be asking council to reallocate that money at a future meeting. But in total, we had planned $640,414. We actually ended up with $665,862. On the expenditure side, we had, again, that $640,414 planned for spending. We have only spent, of that plan, we've only spent a little over $200,000 to date. You'll see the last 2 line items there. The Station 3 fire apparatus installment payments, we had planned for $300,000. We did get through the necessary stuff with HUD and have made a $200,000 payment to date. We actually need to do a little bit of a budget amendment to make HUD's approved plan and our budget match up before we spend any more, to make sure we have all the proper things done. But 200 of that 300 grand has been spent. And then on the sidewalk rehab program, the 109,000 and change, that was the CDBG sidewalk program that council awarded to Merck a few meetings ago. So those projects are actively ongoing, and we'll start making payments. They just won't be reflected in this program year. So again, those two outstanding projects, fire apparatus purchase, we've done everything we need to do with HUD. We can start making installment payments. So as soon as a new program year rolls around and we have our new grant agreement, we can just make the installment payment. And the sooner that we make the installment payments, the lower the overall cost is for the purchase. So they actually send us some information on how much they're discounting it each time we send them a payment. So the sooner and the more often, the better. And then on the sidewalk rehab, we are, grouping that funding with the program year 26 funding. So you all approved a contract, and there's over $170,000 of CDBG money being spent actively. Here's information on how folks can make public comment. They can, of course, speak at this hearing tonight, or they can come to City Hall, meet with me. The draft caper is up on the website. It's at the front desk at City Hall. Folks can write me a letter. They can shoot me an email. They can talk to me on the phone, whatever they want to do, and we'll get the public comments put into the record. And usually we don't get much. If there is anything of note, it will certainly be noted before we ask council to make the approval at your following council meeting. Any
Thank you.
questions from council at this point?
Any questions?
Okay, if you
None from
wouldn't mind any
council.
from public.
Anyone from public? Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Public hearing is now closed at 5:57. We have now come down to item 7, which is the consent agenda. Chair would entertain a motion for 7.1 through 7.4.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of accounts payable proof list through July 2nd, 2026, receive and file building department permit report for June 2026, Pekin Police Department monthly statistics for June 2026, and resolution number 446-26/27, approving final inventory of time capsule to be open July 4th, 2076, be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer and second by Mr. Abel. Any questions on the consent agenda? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0. We have now come down to item 8, which is new business. Chair would entertain a motion for 8.1, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that resolution number 447-26/27, approving annual support of the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Abel and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Ray,
Thank you, Mayor.
how's that for calling the right person?
The City of Pekin is a partner with the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council, which is a regional economic development and planning organization that serves 5 counties in central Illinois. They promote economic development within the region through their 6 core programs that include business attraction, such as what they helped with Epic Medical last year, business assistance, workforce solutions, innovation and startups, rural development, and the Greater Peoria Manufacturing Network. Greater Peoria EDC and its partners work collectively to develop and implement economic development strategies that would be difficult to do for an individual community. The council works successfully across multiple political boundaries between rural and urban communities and among many industry sectors, and in collaboration with all these partner organizations at local, state, federal, and international levels. The city has partnered with Greater Peoria EDC for large-scale economic development activities for over 10 years. And GPEDC is again seeking the city's annual support in the amount of $25,000. They play an important role in the city's economic development activities including performing many activities that our internal staff doesn't have the capacity or budget to do. Just one note on that, they attend a lot of national level or even international conferences and events to promote the greater Peoria region, and in particular, because we have such good available sites, most of the time there's one large site in Peoria and our sites in Pekin that they're actually promoting. Chris Setti from Greater Peoria EDC, he's their CEO. He's an excellent partner. I can call him up at any time with any assistance issues. He connects us with utility companies if we're having any issues. They do a lot of work for us, and they provide a lot of great support. So staff wholeheartedly recommends approval of this resolution.
Can't remember if this is turned on or not. There we go. Any questions from council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 4-2. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8.2, please.
Madam Mayor, I move this resolution number 448-26/27, approving the intergovernmental agreement for transit services with Greater Peoria Mass Transit District, CityLink, be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Abel and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Once again, Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. The city has previously contracted with the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District, also known as CityLink, to provide public transportation services via intergovernmental agreement. So this tonight is just a renewal of that agreement. There's no increase in maximum annual cost, which is at $210,000. It's the same 3 routes. I did pass out handouts before the council meeting, so you could all see the routes clearly and all the times that they run. Statistics according to CityLink include approximately 100,000 rider trips in Pekin annually. The Peoria Connector route is on time 78% of the time, and the routes that are in Pekin are on time 90% or more of the time. We did ask or invite CityLink to attend tonight. They had a scheduling conflict. There was another public entities meeting that they said they needed to attend, and the person on behalf of CityLink that normally attends City of Pekin functions, her last day was Friday, so she was not able to join us tonight. So this is essentially a contract renewal for the services that are ongoing, and staff's available for any questions.
Any questions from council?
I would like to have this deferred to another meeting, because I really would like to speak with the CityLink people.
Okay. Anyone else? And if so, do we have a second?
I'll second that because I was going to do the same thing.
Oh, okay, thank you.
We need to have a lot of discussion with
Yes.
these people,
Totally agree.
and there's a whole laundry list of things that they can improve. I've got some suggestions that we move where the downtown bus stop is. I want them to clean up the street
That
from
was-
all the oil and grease that's down there. I've had a gentleman approach me that has worked for the railroads for years and can provide information about a pad that can be put on a street, parking lot, or whatever, that absorbs all this. So I agree, Karen, we need to table this and have some serious discussion, because over the 4 or 5 years I've been up here, approximately 100,000 rider trips. Yep, okay, I'm gonna question that,
Me too.
so.
Well, Dave, I'm sorry. Go
No.
ahead. No, go ahead.
So what date? You want it the next meeting, or do
Yeah,
we
next
coordinate
meeting.
it with Josh on when their availability is?
I'd like to do the next meeting.
And we'll plan on the 27th and make sure they know that they need to be
Okay.
here.
Okay.
All right, 27th. Dave, I asked him over a year ago to clean the oil up. It looks pitiful there, so thank you.
I asked for information from them last year, and I've yet to receive it. And to no fault of the staff, because they've reached out to get that information, and CityLink has just refused to provide it.
Perfect.
So, I've got a bad taste in my mouth right about now about that, too.
All right,
Agreed.
thank you. Mr.
I'd like to
Abel?
know how many people won't go to this bus stop to ride it, normal, just the citizens, because the homeless they bring down, you look, you see them there, they're set there a lot most of the day. I can see older people, that may wanna go to Peoria, may not have transportation, would be leery about going around that corner. I don't know where is there a way of making it safer? I don't know. But that, I've heard that from a lot of people, it looks bad for downtown Pekin in front of the courthouse, and those people hang out there all day.
Yep.
Are they bringing anything else into this town we don't want? Just asking.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you've got it tabled till next.
I think you need a vote, Mayor.
Ready? We have a motion and a second. Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0, and that is to table it till next council meeting. Thank you. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8.3, please.
Madam Mayor, I move resolution number 44926-27, approving annual contract with Magnet Forensic Software be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Abel and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Ray?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll ask Chief Randy to present this item.
Good
Chief
evening.
Randy?
Yes, we're requesting approval for the annual contract with Magnet Forensics. Great Key Software by Magnet is a law enforcement-only digital forensics tool used to extract digital evidence from mobile devices, mainly cell phones. Great Key is the industry leader in assessing and extracting data from both Apple and Android devices. It has the ability to extract data from locked devices using a tool called Brute Force. It's a proprietary tool, and it's an advanced action that Great Key offers. This is a valuable tool because most cellular devices that we come across that are seized as evidence are in a locked state, and the password or passcode is not available to law enforcement. As you'll see, there are two quotes that are part of this request. One unlocks and downloads the data, and then the Axiom services. It is a parsing device that takes hundreds and thousands of pieces of data that are in these phones and sorts them and organizes them in a way that makes it easily readable and saves countless amount of hours of having to do that manually. So this quote contains both of those. And I'm open for any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8.4, please.
Madam Mayor, I move resolution number 450-26/27, approving a quote from Axon Enterprise Incorporated for body-worn cameras and related services for the Community Development Department and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for purchase be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Fletcher and second by Mr. Abel. Mr. Dossi, Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mayor.
Dang it.
Staff is requesting that council approve an agreement with Axon to purchase and implement a body-worn camera system for our building department, code enforcement personnel. It's similar to the body cameras and that technology that's in the police department now, although there are different policies and it will actually be a different hardware. So I'll ask Nick McQuett to go through any of the details that he would like to present, and then staff is available for questions.
So the proposed quote before you is a 5-year term agreement for a total of $40,241 with $13,521 coming out of this fiscal year. It is for 8 cameras with 7 licenses, a docking station, evidence storage, and all the management software, as well as training services. This was a budgeted item within my department. It is sole source as it qualifies due to Axon being the city's current provider with the police department for camera technology.
Okay. Any question from council?
Nick,
Mr. Nutter?
we talked about this, but just as clarification, 7 licenses because we're taking a look at, there's gonna be eight cameras, one's a extra,
One's a backup,
or a
correct?
backup, yeah.
Yep.
So, and the cameras that are currently used in code enforcement cannot be transferred to your department, they stay in the police
They will
department.
stay with the police department, and the chief may have an answer as to what would happen with those cameras.
Chief Randy?
Yeah, so part of our Axon is that we're rotating out cameras, and so if we don't need those, then we'll just make arrangements with Axon for them to be returned, and it'll be most likely just a small credit over the course of the time.
Okay, very good. And as we move down the road and make the transfer from code enforcement under the police department to your department, we gonna make a budget adjustment then for all the funding that's left in code enforcement?
I
Or
believe.
has that been discussed?
What has been discussed so far is I believe I will take over the 766 budget line and all the money allocated within that department, which is code enforcement.
We'll transfer to you when that takes
Yes.
place. Okay.
The line will be managed by you. It's not
Correct.
going to be transferred into yours. It'll be
Correct.
managed by you, yeah.
Correct.
So Nick, what's the main reason for these cameras besides the ones that are for code enforcement? What's the need for them in the building department?
Again, documentation purposes, as well as, currently the inspectors do go out on a lot of the code enforcement calls. We're also on site for administrative warrants when they're served, as well as you run into a lot of confrontational individuals sometimes. So it's just documentation, training, things of that nature is what we're looking at.
Okay. That's all I had.
Any other questions from council? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8.5, please.
Madam Mayor, I move resolution number 451-26/27, directing city staff to initiate the process for the vacation of a portion of public right-of-way located in the vicinity of Davis Street and Melvania Street be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Fletcher and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Ray?
Thank you, Mayor. The city staff has identified a portion of city-owned right-of-way located in the vicinity of Davis Street, and Melvina Street that is no longer needed for public street utility or other municipal purposes. Normally, staff would go ahead and just start working on something like this, but given the relatively high cost of a pretty small project, we wanted to seek council's direction before we initiate any formal process with our surveyors or under any other requirements of law to determine whether ultimately council is going to support this or not. Basically, we don't want to waste money if council doesn't want to do this, and normally the survey work for a small area of right-of-way is not this expensive, but some of the older parts of town, they have to really do a lot of research to find the property boundaries. So I'll ask Nick McQuett to present anything else he'd like for your consideration.
Again, within the packet, there is a copy of the GIS map of the area in question. Part of the right-of-way looks to be an extension of Elm Street, as well as an alley on the west side and an alley that runs east to west. That is currently what we're looking to vacate. The alley itself has not been used in years and is totally overgrown. The alley on the east side of the property has currently 2 garages built within it. The hope is, through this process, we'll find that this was vacated years ago. And, you know, if that is the case, then the cost of this should go way down if a lot of that work has already been completed.
Okay, great, okay. Any questions from council?
Where is this exactly located?
It's off of Second Street, Davis and Melvina,
Like
roughly.
where? Yeah, that's why, that's why I'm asking, because I will be abstaining.
So there hasn't been anybody, no resident or property owner that's requested this?
We haven't, no. So each year, you know, we try to be proactive and find properties or issues like this that we can correct in this area. There are currently citations that are issued, and I can't give direction to anybody as to where they can put a fence. I have garages built in what appears to be right of way. So we just need, the city needs this corrected or addressed before we can allow any kind of permits or repairs done to any fences, to garages that are in that right of way that we're aware of now.
So you're saying that the property boundaries of the city's right-of-way on these maps are incorrect? I mean, if those are correct, why is there an issue with knowing where to put a fence or whatnot?
So currently, there are fences that appear to be in city right of way.
Right?
So part of this would be doing the due diligence to find out if this has been vacated previously. If not, it would be to vacate it, as there is no good purpose for it. You know, it's not a through alley. There are some utilities, so there would be easements that would be granted on a vacation plat. Again, it's cleanup of a lot of old platting.
Have any of the property owners that all this property surrounds been notified about this?
No, because the formal vacation process has not started, again, due to what we're looking at for expected costs. We wanted to bring this to council and get direction before we expended the money. As a process, if we get to go ahead tonight, part of that process would be notification of all the property owners, a zoning board hearing, and then ultimately an ordinance before you.
Are you finished yet, Mr.
I
Hilst?
want to ask a question.
We'll let him finish. 'Cause I-
So what happens if this doesn't get approved? Then it just continues to sit like it is? I mean, is there a safety issue or health issue or anything associated with this?
The alley is overgrown. It appears there's 2 garages built into right-of-way. Those are issues.
Who's responsible for clearing the alleyway out?
The way the city enforces that is each property owner that their property abuts the alley is responsible halfway into the alley.
Okay, so if I've had complaints from people in the past that they got an ordinance citation because they had to go back and clean the alley out behind their house, why aren't the people in this location getting the same citations? That'd be the way to clean that up. I just don't see spending the money to do it if it's not necessary, but that's just my own opinion.
Councilmember Hills, I think the larger issue that staff is asking is, do we want to keep these alleys for any public purpose, or should we grant them to the adjacent property owners and let them take care of it basically as they have been? Because if it is for some,
Right, but if you're gonna grant it to them, then they should be paying for the vacating of them, not the taxpayers.
So is it, are you finished?
Yes.
Okay, so is it my understanding that some of the business owners around there, I know one, has paid thousands of dollars to clean up some of that? Would he be reimbursed or what? No?
No.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else?
Well, I guess from the taxpayer standpoint,
I just,
will they have a choice? If we decide to vacate it and we vote yes, automatically, they're gonna receive additional square footage or whatever on their property, correct?
So again, public notification would be given to every parcel or property owner that would be affected, and they would have an opportunity to come to the public hearing.
At the ZBA.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We need to make that clear that if this moves forward, it still has to go to the ZBA, and ZBA has the hearing side of it, and people that live around these alleys that potentially gonna be vacated should show up to that meeting.
Right, and that was my whole point, but that's all fine and dandy, but like Nick was saying earlier, if it gets approved tonight, you're not gonna spend $12,500 and then vote no on it down the road. So those people should be notified before tonight's meeting, in my opinion.
Can I ask, who owns the fence? Is it owned by the city?
We can't make that determination right now.
Okay, I think we need to table this.
I move that we table it to the July 27th meeting to provide notification to the homeowners that are around there that it's going to be discussed again if they'd like to come to the public input. I understand they would have to still go possibly to ZBA, but they could come in and express their opinion at the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion made to table it and by Mr. Nutter and a second by Mr. Abel. Do we want any discussion on why we're tabling it? Are we good
You
with that?
can't.
Oh, we cannot. Okay. All right, council, take your vote. Motion passes 6-0 to table it for further information. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8.6, please.
Madam Mayor, I move resolution number 452-26/27, approving renewal with Environmental Systems Research Institute be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Fletcher and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Wright?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll ask our Public Works Director, Simon Grimm, to present this item.
Mr. Grimm?
Good afternoon. So this is our yearly maintenance contract with Esri. It's one of the programs that underpins and provides the GIS service for all the maps that both the city staff use on a regular basis and then the public-facing maps that are on the website that the public can go reference. How that actually works, if you want a little more detail, I'm going to have to defer to Mr. Hess for that level of information. Otherwise, this is it's been the same cost for a couple of years now. Has not gone up, but it is only done in yearly increments. So staff recommends approval on this, but pending any questions.
Mayor, I just want to know, we did have a council member reach out to us inquiring some of the maps were down. I reached out to CloudPoint, which is the service company essentially that runs all of the software for us. The normal GIS technician is out on vacation, I think. They had somebody else look into it this morning. As far as I can tell, it's all working. I don't know if it's working for all of you, but it looks like it's working for me. I'm waiting on an update for them. They just said that there was something broken in the platform with Esri, but they were looking into it today, and now it's up and live. So we can certainly, stay on that track, because I know that particularly the TIP maps, the BDD map, the enterprise zone, those have been down lately. Nick and I have both experienced that. But as of right now, they look like they're working great.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions from council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8.7, please.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that resolution number 453-26/27, approving the purchase of a spray patch machine for the street department be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hilston, second by Mr. Nutter. Mr. Ray?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll again ask Public Works Director Grimm to present this item.
Mr. Grimm?
And good afternoon again. So We are asking council for approval to purchase a new T7500 Total Patcher, which is the brand spray patch machine. This is one of the more heavily used instruments that we have for street repair. It enables a rapid pothole, alligator skin kind of repairs, and they're currently out doing those repairs right now. Our current machine is a T7500 that we purchased in 2006, so we've had it for 20 years now. It is at the point to where we're every week having to make repairs. Guys are coming back in for various things kind of falling apart on this. We did get 3 quotes for this machine and then a similar one, which is by the company Durapatcher. It was, approximately 10 grand more for the Durapatcher version, comparably sized and capabilities for both. So we would like to purchase this one, and then we would continue to use our current one for this construction season and then look to sell it at the end of this one. The weather is a big factor in Dura spray patching. Temperatures have to be right, it has to be dry. So we've got to capitalize on the windows that we have to get as much done as possible. So pending any questions, that's all I have.
Okay. Questions from council?
Simon, when's the anticipated delivery date if this was to get approved?
So if this is approved, they have one that'll be complete within 2 weeks, and that would be the one that we would receive from the vendor.
Okay, so my follow-up to that then is, why would we continue to use the old one if we're gonna have that new one here in a short amount of time?
Sure, great question. So we want to keep it just as a backup. I know it's a brand new machine, but make sure there's no issues. But then B, during some of the overtime, we could surge and do 2 crews simultaneously if we have 2 Durapatchers available.
Smart thinking.
Okay.
Smart thinking? Yeah. Any other questions from council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 5-1. One, did you abstain? Yeah, sorry. 5-0 with 1 abstain. Did you get that, Madam Clerk? Okay. Thank you. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8.8, please.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that resolution number 454-26/27, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Civic Plus for dock access website PDF document accessibility software be approved.
Motion made by Mr. Hilston, second by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. This request is to approve an agreement with Civic Plus for the implementation of Doc Access, which is an automated document accessibility solution converting public PDF documents into searchable and accessible HTML transcripts, enhancing public access to the city's records while supporting our compliance needs. In particular, the city is very sensitive to ADA requirements. One of those requirements is by next year, we are to be entirely accessible when it comes to our website, and that is a huge undertaking. I don't know if you've ever tried to take 20-year-old PDFs and turn it into something searchable and accessible. It is extremely time-consuming, and we don't have a lot of staff to do it. The clerk's office has found this software that is actually offered by our current website provider. Normally, at this level of spending, it would just be under, the city manager's approval, but it's an add-on to an existing software package, so we want to make sure we come to council with that increased cost. But essentially, this is going to save, I don't think I'm over-exaggerating when I say hundreds of hours of staff time by converting old documents and maintaining the transparency of having them available, but converting those documents on the website for now and in the future. Happy to answer any questions that I can. City Manager Dossie was working on this before his vacation, so I am not terribly familiar, but I do know hopefully enough to answer your questions.
Okay, great, appreciate that. Anything from council?
I have one question. I know we've had issues in the past on the ADA section of it for the quarterly reports. Is this gonna fix it?
Yeah, so our clerk's office has been demoing the product, and particularly with some of the quarterly reports, we're finding that there are certain things that it doesn't do well. So what we'll just have to do with the quarterly reports in the future is avoid using some of those. You know, if it's a certain kind of chart or table or whatever that it does not convert well, we'll avoid doing that. And so then in the future, yes, it'll be able to convert those so that our staff doesn't have to spend, it's a surprising amount of time
lot of
making sure that
hours.
it's accessible.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other question? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8.9, please.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that ordinance number 4414-26/27, approving an intergovernmental agreement with Pekin Park District regarding the riverfront splash pad expenses be approved.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. Hilston, second by Mr. Abel. Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. During the preparation of the fiscal year 23 audit, Jake and Klein staff noticed that the city had used TIF funds to reimburse the Park District for a portion of the cost to build a splash pad down at the riverfront per an intergovernmental agreement approved by City Council and by the Park District. While that is perfectly allowable under the TIF Act, there are certain statutory requirements that should have been in the intergovernmental agreement. Certain findings. So Jacob McLean drafted that. This is really just a cleanup to retroactively approve kind of a TIF-specific intergovernmental agreement. There's no additional money being paid. There's no change to the splash pad, nothing along those lines. It's really just a cleanup for the audit from Jacob McLean's perspective.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from council? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8.10, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4415-26/27, approving an agreement for the purchase and sale of real property with Randy Linton for the sale of city-owned property on Kenmore Street be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Nutter and second by Mr. Helst. Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. As part of the Court Street reconstruction project, the city previously acquired and demolished the home at 7 Kenmore Court. That property, for whatever reason, included a portion of the driveway that's used and maintained by the neighbor to the north, which is Ms. Randy Linton. So this is just a real estate contract that transfers that portion of the property that is her driveway, which is approximately 428 square feet, to her for a nominal fee and shared closing costs. The city can decide what's best for the remainder of the property in the future. This is really just to legally transfer her driveway back to her.
Okay. Any questions from council?
I do.
Sure.
I'd like to know how her driveway ended up on city's property.
Well, so it was originally private property, and it was just when the city took control of that parcel, it was already on the property.
But it wasn't her property.
No, her driveway was on her neighbor's property essentially, and I don't know if that's just platting from back in the day, if that's, I don't know, we have no idea. I don't know, Nick, do you have any idea why? Yeah,
A lot
So
of
the city
city ones.
bought that property
sure.
for the Court Street project, essentially. And then there was a brand-new driveway poured on
so-
city's property that now we want to sell to her?
I believe the city tore out her driveway as part of our demolition.
But it wasn't her driveway because it wasn't on her property.
Certainly, you can make that argument. I would think that the common law argument might also be that if that's how she accesses her property and that's how she's been doing it for a couple decades, then she probably retains some rights to be able to do that. I don't know.
Is it a shared drive? You know, in the city of Pekin, there are shared drives.
On the street, there are one drive and it shoots off to.
I'm not sure if it was. The area that we're transferring is certainly solely on currently the city's property, formerly the private property.
She's not the only one that's got a split to two different garages.
Yeah. Well, we certainly can't landlocked with, well, it's not landlocked, but we want them to have a drive. We were trying to clean up Pekin.
So Nick was able to pull up a more older map, and it does look like it was previously a shared driveway. As far as we can tell, the property line was not down the middle of the driveway, but practically it was a shared driveway.
There's a couple houses like that on Parkway, I believe, as well, that it's actually a shared drive, and then they go to their backyards. Okay. Rick, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, that's all.
Anyone else? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 8-11, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that discussion on usage of redevelopment incentives to reimburse costs for installing fire suppression systems in commercial buildings
It's just a
be
discussion.
discussed.
Oh. So, okay, so this was just, we don't need a discussion or a second, do we? Sorry.
No.
I didn't read it, so I apologize. I didn't realize that was a discussion. Mr. Ray?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't intend to keep us here all night. I just wanted to run something by council. We currently have our annual TIF Commercial Building Improvement Program open, or I guess rather the application period is closed, but I'm going to be reviewing the applications. I think we received either 4 or 5. One of those applications brought up kind of a perennial issue, which is that some of these buildings, particularly in the downtown area, although not necessarily, they have old building systems that were built before modern codes, and now that we, for very good reasons, are requiring fire suppression systems, some of these buildings are just cost prohibitive to remodel. It might be $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 remodel, and then we are also requiring that they get a new water service brought to their building and install a $50,000 to $100,000 fire suppression system. Some of the properties, it's not a problem, you know, if they just want to have an office or some other kind of use in the downstairs and no living units upstairs, sometimes that's fine. Other times they want to have mixed occupancy and try to get some occupants, residential occupants downtown, and that kicks in the need for fire suppression. The experts behind me here can talk about any of those requirements if you like, but essentially what I'd like to know is if council is interested and willing to, you know, what I would say, essentially help what is currently an unfunded mandate from the city to help restore some of these buildings. And, you know, it's definitely not a have to, but as we get applications to remodel some of these buildings, $50,000 does not make it cost effective to take over these buildings and do the remodel and try to open. So really the bigger picture question, and this was discussed at the Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting earlier today, the bigger question is, does the city feel like it is important to help revitalize and maintain a vibrant downtown for the community if public investment is either not willing or not able to do it? So that's kind of the bigger picture question. More specifically, right now, I'm really just looking for your input as I go to bring you grants to potentially approve at your next council meeting. Are you okay if I include in there additional funding for a project or two that's asking for some help on the sprinklers in addition to the regular renovations? So open for discussion, happy to answer any questions, give you any more of my thoughts.
Some of those buildings they could have maybe 3-4 apartments in them, which would be taxable income to the city.
And spruce up our downtown.
And it would,
Make
it
more
would,
vibrant.
yeah, it would make people, a lot of people want to live downtown, live close. I think it's definitely worth pursuing.
Mr. Abel, were you going to say something?
These programs, I think, are, that as far as I know, are always been popular up north in northern Illinois, but not so much here. This, to me, is no different than a facade grant or anything else to make a building more attractive to sell or to the owner to put money into. We always talk about the unoccupied buildings downtown. Here's one reason why they are. Like, and you can't blame a developer for it.
Correct.
If you're gonna spend half what it's gonna cost to develop just in the sprinkler system, I think we should help in some way. And, but again, we're talking about revitalizing downtown.
It would basically be a cherry on top for somebody that was interested in buying it, knowing that they could develop the upstairs into apartments or whatever.
True. Mr. Hillsternetter? No?
Yes, I'll say a few things. So, the law for those sprinklers in those commercial buildings, is that from our international building code? Is that where that originates from?
Yes.
Okay, so we just, as a city, pretty much adopt a mirror image of what their code is.
Correct. It's a model code.
Right. So it's not specifically an unfunded mandate by the city. I mean, that's coming from above us.
International code's a model code that we choose to adopt.
So if we chose to eliminate the requirement for sprinklers in those commercial buildings, we have the authority to do that?
You do.
Then why don't we do that? And that would eliminate this problem.
I wouldn't sleep well at night.
Buildings burn down, and it's bad when they're all
We eliminate it for the residential buildings, right?
for single family, for an
Yes.
individual homeowner to decide. But when you're talking about general public safety, I think it's important to keep in mind that a lot of these buildings are very old, very connected. Fire can spread very quickly between them. And I mean, I certainly didn't bring up the conversation to discuss the merit of the code. If you guys want to change the building code, I think that's another conversation. And certainly our building department and fire department should be, should have some more time to prepare the discussion on that. It's something the council can certainly discuss, but
And
that's
this is
not why I
for,
brought it up.
this is for first or second floor, either one.
Correct.
So anybody that currently has a business downtown per se, they've all got sprinklers in those buildings on the main floor where their business is located.
Not necessarily, because not all businesses have the same code requirements. Nick, if you want to.
Yeah, not every business requires, or occupancy type requires sprinklers. But anytime you're gonna have residential mixed into a business occupancy, it's going to always require sprinklers. And it's sprinklers throughout the whole building, not just the residential portion of the building.
So it's not just for commercial buildings, it's for commercial buildings / residential buildings.
Yeah, or like a residential multifamily would be,
So if you've got a business downtown, nothing upstairs, then you're not required to have the sprinklers on the first floor?
depends on square footage under one roof. So, and the type of business. So, let's say a restaurant, which is an A2 occupancy, once you get over a certain square footage, or a certain occupant load, that's what kicks in the fire suppression requirement.
Right.
Mr. Hillstein, Tony and I were able to take part about 3 or so years ago with some people from downtown, some business owners, a small group of people to kind of dive into this. And just for some rough, just pulling this back up, there are 3 buildings downtown that are completely sprinkled today, as they sit.
When you say completely, you mean on the first and second floor?
Yep, and then one of them, all 3 floors. One of,
Well, okay, one has a third floor.
the
Okay.
Asher's building is all the way.
Right.
Yep. Of the people that were contacted, the owners of the properties, 14 were potentially interested in this program then. At that time, the reason we kind of dove into this is there was a lot of talk that there was going to be some state or federal program to help municipalities with this sort of thing. That wound up falling through, but that's why this information was collected at that time. Let's see what else. So yeah, there's 3 buildings that today could have second or third floor sprinklers, or apartments. The thing that I think has to be said or should be said is the misnomer of sprinklers is that they save a building. They help with that, but the sprinkler system's all about getting people out.
Right.
That's all it's about. It's saving life in those few moments where it makes a difference. Now, there are rules in play where an owner could occupy above their business without a sprinkler. That's how that code had been interpreted here for many, many years. The two of us are not quite sure that that interpretation is the same as ours, which that's how codes work. But, so there are business owners that do live above their business that aren't sprinkled currently because of the former interpretation of that code. I think that's important to note as well, because we're not talking about 20 blocks of a downtown. You know, we have a pretty nuanced, small area to talk about. And then of all of this, you have to look at, so the unfortunate thing is the water line is on the south side of the road. So to bring sprinklers to the north side of the road, you have to bore or cut the road to put in a vault to separate, you know, domestic versus.
Right. Which we
And
did several years ago for a business down there so that they could sprinkle the upstairs of their building. And it's been sitting empty ever since.
Yes.
And that was, I forget the exact amount of money because I couldn't find it. I looked.
I
But it
don't
was-
remember offhand.
It was somewhere around $250,000, I believe.
For the whole project?
Yes.
Yeah.
And had to, like you said, put a brand new line under the road.
Yeah.
And there's been no occupancy in that building since we did that. And quite frankly, just in my opinion, you're also talking about people outside of the TIF districts that may require sprinklers in their buildings, and they aren't gonna get the same opportunity.
The discussion about water lines brings up a point that was brought up at the Economic Development Advisory Committee meeting earlier today. They didn't give me any kind of formal recommendation, but kind of half of their feedback, I would say, was to look into what the cost would be. Somewhere down the road, the city redoes the infrastructure downtown. Does it make sense for the city, perhaps Illinois American would participate, to just go ahead and add a second line on that side of the road rather than doing any kind of extra grant work? You know, one of them added up, you know, if there's 10 of them at $75,000 a pop, you're talking $750,000 now. Maybe it makes sense to just do a water line project sometime in the future. The only unknown then is how long before that actually happens. And again, this isn't, you know, there's not a positive cost benefit analysis to be done here. It's not, it will take decades to recoup the cost in increased property tax or increased sales tax. I mean, that's not the point. The point is that if the public investment or the private investment is not doing it, should the city participate at a higher level with public investment? And a lot of communities find that they do want to keep their downtowns vibrant. They do want to put money into them, and that's your choice.
Well, if you're just looking for each individual's consensus tonight, I don't support it. That's just how I look at it.
I want to go back to basics. So we had, in this recent application process, we had a business bring up the sprinkler system. Is it brought up for residential apartments up above their building, or is it to sprinkle for the business only?
They want to sprinkle all floors so that they can have a mixed occupancy building.
Okay. Say it passes. Say we go forward with it. Who's going to foot the bill for the water company to put in the vault and run all that? Is that going to be the business owner?
Yeah, they had a $75,000 quote to bring water to the building, and then another $75,000 quote to install the suppression system. So they would be paying for the whole thing.
$75,000 for the suppression system over 3 floors?
2 floors, I believe.
2 floors? The base floor and the second floor?
I believe that's accurate. I'd have to go back and look, but I think that's accurate. It's 2,000 square foot building. It's not wide.
Going to generate tax revenue? Going to
It's
generate increase in the TIF?
It will, certainly not to the extent that a $50,000 grant would. I mean, the downtown grants they're not a return on investment type of program.
If I remember right, after thinking about this, I recall in a lot of the IML books, and I'm going to refer to Trent on this one, IML had advertisements in those books, in the magazines every month, that there's fire suppression grants available out there. Are they still out there? I don't know.
I don't know. I couldn't speak to that. I do think, were you surprised by the 75? Do you think that's low?
I think it's too low.
Sounds low.
Yeah, I also believe that there has been, the story gets better with retelling sometimes on how much these cost. I feel like that's probably a pretty good quote. Pretty accurate from what I would guess for that size of a building, 2 floors. You know, we have heard numbers out there of hundreds and hundreds of thousands, and I don't know that those have always been accurate.
Wow. I don't know.
And
We don't
I
have
guess
to
just
answer
for-
you all right now. I mean, we can,
No,
let's
the only
discuss.
thing I'd add for context, so there was $200,000 allocated for the program this year.
Mm-hmm.
We received, I think there's gonna be 4 completed applications. So even at the maximum amount right now, that's $50,000 per project. I'm probably not gonna recommend the full amount. I don't think they would qualify for the full amounts. So, I mean, in the alternative, we can repurpose that money for something else. Or if you would like to use a higher percentage for fire suppression systems, I think that could be accommodated at least this year. But again, there will be formal recommendations on individual grant projects at the next council
Okay.
meeting, and just kind of looking for the feel if I should consider this or not.
I think Mr. Fletcher had something to say, or did you change your mind?
Well, I mean, I've talked to Josh a couple times about some of these incentives, and I've always thought that we should bring each project individually to the council.
I was just
And
gonna
then
say
let
that.
us decide if that amount of grant, even if you never get reimbursed for the city doesn't recoup all of it, is that a good fit down there? Will it bring more people down there? Will it generate some tax dollars, project by project?
Okay. Does that sound good? Does that give you any kind of lead?
Yeah, I mean, really, I was just looking to see if it was a hard no or if you were at least open to it in general. And so I think, unless anybody has any other feedback, I think I'm good.
Okay, all right. We appreciate that. Thank you. Any other business to come before the council? Mr. Ray?
I didn't check with staff like Manager Dawson usually does. Chief Franny has something.
Yeah, just a couple things. I just wanted to address the gentleman that spoke in the beginning as far as the call for donations or
Yes.
that, yeah, so we would never do that. Not something that we would do. We do have a service called My90 through Axon that if you are a victim of a crime, we do send out a survey. It's just a text. There would never be anything associated with any money or anything like that, but we do have that program, and that's just to document how the officers did while they were on the call. But we will never solicit or request funds from any of the citizens. So I just want to make sure that that was addressed. Fraud related to law enforcement is very prevalent right now, not just here, but across the nation. It's a really popular way because people like to support law enforcement most of the time, and unfortunately, there's people committing fraud that capitalize on that.
Yeah.
And then my other thing was just to announce that our third Cops for Kids event is July 16th from 10 to 12 at the Pekin Lagoon, and that's going to be paddle boats and snow cones and several different things on that day.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe our finance director has an item.
I did want to make a quick comment about expenditures in the bus department. Taking a look, there's a lot of May and June related expenses. There were normal business operations during those 2 months. And then going forward from July on, those should really dwindle down to
Yeah.
be non-existent.
Yeah. Everything can't come in immediately. I get that. Yeah. Okay. Any other staff?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Hilst?
Yeah, a couple things real quick. I've had a couple more complaints about the condition of the medians out on Court Street. I know that was discussed during the meeting I had down here a couple weeks ago. So to those people that are still out there noticing that and making me aware of it, that has been passed along to staff a couple weeks ago, so that is in their hands at this point. And then I want to hit on public input when Mr. Lambert was talking about the fireworks. I would agree wholeheartedly with everything he said about that. And I'm the same way. I'd back you up 100% on the fact that I'm just as patriotic as the next person, but I'm tickled to death in our neighborhood when all that noise is gone also. Ours starts 3 weeks before the 4th, and it's still going on as of last night. And I don't know what the answer to that is. I know the police chief and I have had discussions about that in the past. I've called the non-emergency number multiple times. You typically get the same answer at this time of the year. We're getting inundated with calls. We'll show up if we have time. That's basically the answer you get. All the way from, 3-4 week time frame in there. I mean, it's just, that's how bad of a problem it is. Now, I don't know what the police department can do to curtail that any more than what they do. I don't know if they put extra officers out on the 4th of July night to help out with those calls, but I look at it from both sides. I hear you, and I stand behind you 100% on that. But I also try to look at it from their side. You only got so many people out there. If you've got 500, the amount of calls as you do people, you can't be in every spot at one time. So I try to give the benefit of the doubt, but they test my patience also, trust me. And that's all I have to say on that.
Mr. Nutter.
I'm gonna address Mr. Pajoli's. Is he still here or did he leave? He left. Okay, Simon, when are we gonna give him an answer? It's been going on for 4 years, and I thought we had it resolved at the last meeting when we looked at all the GIS maps. So when can we give him an answer? When can we get together with him? I don't care, I'll come out with you if you want to meet with him to explain what I heard the last meeting. So you can pick and choose the date, but I think we owe the gentleman an answer. And unfortunately, you're catching the rear end of it because this has been going on way before you. So there's some issues there. I understand that, but let's give him an answer. The next thing is I'm going to commend Matt Johnson for going through the accounts payable report. It's pretty exciting, isn't it, Matt? Yeah. So one thing to look at, just as to help you, make sure you look at the invoice date. The invoice date is a key factor. And like Mr. Dabrowski said, we get them, like the tolls. Those tolls were from, there's some of them on there that went back years that had nothing to do with the recent transition. Same thing on the towing of the bus, same thing. You need to look at the dates. So if you want help with it and don't understand it, call me and we'll go through it. As a follow-up to Mr. Pajoli's thing, I'm going to make a recommendation that's going to go to the city clerk, city manager, and the mayor, that we set a time frame when citizens ask questions that we can give a reasonable answer within a reasonable amount of time. If it's something really technical that it would involve legal, let's say, that may be one thing. But if it's a somewhat simple answer, like we've answered some of those tonight, like the police chief said, here's those they're scams. That can be answered right away. So I'm going to send something forward here in the next couple of days. The last note I got pertains to the ADA. Mr. Vasselli? Is the date set finally for whatever?
Evidentiary hearing on
That's
August
it.
the 4th with regards to, we put our cards on the table at that point in time.
What's the date?
August the 4th.
August
I'll
4th.
confirm that and send it around in writing before close of business on Wednesday, but I believe it's August the 4th. That's what we're prepping up for. There'll be preliminary motions going back and forth. You'll see a bunch of minute orders and,
Okay.
motions, right? It's the legal practice, so people make claims and everything like that, but August the 4th is the date that everybody's gearing up for and preparing for.
Okay. And this last one's for you. Sorry, second to last. Yes.
Me or Josh?
No, for you, Mr. Vasselli.
Yes.
Point of order for Robert's Rules of Order.
Yes.
I admire that Mary's got Mary's moment.
Thank you.
So, do we put it on the agenda? Is it an agenda item?
I asked that it was put on there, and I saw that it wasn't again, but I did tell Mr. Vasselli I was going to be saying that I am gonna have my Mary's Moment. So if it needs to be put on there, and we are going to be having, can I state what we're doing next time?
Well, let's get my answer first.
No, okay.
One thing we're gonna do, Mayor, with your okay, and I'm sure the assent of the board and trustee, or alderman, or council member Nutter, I'm gonna get it right eventually. We're gonna change our code to reflect a mayor's message. Most municipalities that I have a mayor's message, and our code is the baseline for what we put on the agenda. If you look at it, it's the spine, basically, and we fill it in. So we'll just change it and have a mayor's message, which is standard. Most municipalities do have it.
Yep.
But I want to make sure that we reflect it going forward.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir.
Mr. Fletcher?
Yep. I just have a couple things. First off, I want to thank the people that took care of our signs that, I remember, I tried to go back and I couldn't find the date, but I know that there was something brought to council months ago where they wanted to spend, or we were going to think about spending $60,000 on new signs. And I am very grateful for these people that take their time and have cleaned those up. Those, granite or marble, whatever that is, you can't replace those for that kind of money. And they did an extremely good job, and they saved the taxpayers quite a bit of money. So I want to thank them for that. Second thing, Simon, I had an email on June 25th from a gentleman that we have a tree issue at 1407 Arthur Street. And I sent that to Mr. Dawsey, and supposedly he has gotten with you and Joe are supposed to go out and measure this thing, because I guess it's extremely close to whether it's going to be the city's problem or the homeowner's problem. So we're going on now about 3 weeks here, and I got another email before I walked out the door to come here. Can you give me an update? So could you please get that taken care of and either let me know that I can send this email on, or I can get you a copy so that you can take care of it.
I can update you right now.
Okay.
It is not a city tree. It is very close, but it falls several inches past the right-of-way.
So this is gonna be a homeowner's tree at 1409 Arthur Street?
Correct.
Okay. Did you happen to make contact with?
Yes, we spoke with the people who sent the
Made the
email.
complaint?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, all right, I wonder why they emailed me at 3:30, because they did not have supposedly at 3:30 today, they have not heard anything, so I will communicate that to them tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Abel?
I think this is either for Simon or Chief Reese. What's the timeline on getting done or completing the apron in front of Station 3? I know we're doing it in-house, but are we really saving money? I mean, it's been forever doing that, and I just trying to balance out if we could have had a contractor do it and been done and been using it. We're parking some vehicles outside sometimes. There's a lot of money sitting outside down there on some nights.
So we should have the sidewalk and remaining portion poured this week. So we should be complete at that point.
Great, thank you. And finally, to correct something that was said in public comment, we are employed by the city of Pekin up here. At least I am. I think we all are.
You do get a paycheck, that is correct.
$5,000 a year before taxes, $362.87 every month. We get a tax form, W-2. So just correct what I thought he said, we're not employed up here. Wrong. Thank you.
You're correct. I just thought I'd tell you that. Mr. Vasselli, did you want to say something?
You want to go to Miss
All right,
Hoheimer?
Ms. Hoheimer.
Okay, then I can do one thing. I just want to follow back up on something, and
I'm going to follow up with a few things too, but go right ahead.
Yeah, one thing, Mr. Nutter, I'm not going to mention any names because it is kind of private and family business, but one of the attorneys who is leading on the ADA thing, his father, they thought he was going to die. He had what they call a widowmaker heart attack, which I guess sounds relatively ominous. And I don't want to get, you're right, I'm not a doctor, but that's probably not the one you want to have. And I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm not trying to be capricious or anything about it. I want to tell you guys, you may get phone calls. There may be phone calls that come in to seek information and everything like that. So I'm not going to mention any names. I will say it's not me. But one of the attorneys who's spending a lot of time preparing for this and following up the motions, making sure everything is filed properly and everything's ready to go as what happens in these things. He was dealing with that family issue, and so he may call this week to try to get additional information. And again, I'm not saying we're not going to be prepared. We're going to be 100% prepared. Very much looking forward to this. Looking forward to see the argument on the merits. But when these things happen, when you've been through litigation before, it's fast and furious, where you just get a lot of information real fast to get prepared for it. So it's going to come in fast over the next week or so. And part of it is, I always tell my team, and I hope this is okay with the mayor and you guys, your family always comes first, right? I think, well, we'll always be prepared for you guys. We'll always do everything. And, people are going to stub their toes and you keep on walking. I always tell my team that family has to come first. We always start at family, we start at home. So I hope that's okay.
Okay. First of all, as we break here, we are going to be going into executive, but I wanted you to know that Mr. Stein had asked that the council all gather in front of the time capsule to have a picture taken quickly. So we will take a quick break then. Second of all, I know that Mr. Nutter called out something that wasn't done for Mr. Pacioli, and Dossie is not here to defend himself, so I'm sure he has some kind of a good answer, or he's working on it. Second of all, same thing with our city financing and timing. When they say, it's been 3 weeks, I still don't have an answer. We probably should have thought of that years ago when our finances were not in order, and we should have been calling out things at that time instead of, I haven't heard in 3 weeks. I just want us all to be mindful, very patient, that I think everyone is trying to do the best job that they can. And I think everyone is trying to put their best foot forward. I have said that numerous times. I want to bring out the best in all of us, and the best in all of us start right here. So, with that, Chair would entertain a motion to, first of all, we're going to take a quick break. Or wait a minute, we're going to go into executive.
Madam Mayor, I move that we move into executive session, 5 ILCS 120/2 subset C. 10.1, number 5, the purchase or lease of real property for use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired. 10.2, subset 6, the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body. 10.3, subset 11, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Nutter and second by Mr. Abel. Council, take your vote. Oh, it's already up. Council, take your vote, please. I didn't even look up and it was there. Motion passes 6-0. We will take a quick 10-minute break, but we will first have our picture taken by Mr. Stein out by the time capsule. And we will not be taking a vote, coming out and taking a vote.